Alright everybody, what is going on, and welcome back to your Seattle Storm Bears franchise mode. Now if you haven't watched episode number 47, stop right now and go watch that. This is going to be a video, this is going to be the sequel to that video, which we are going to go have a look around the NHL. Because right now we're struggling a little bit, we've been playing a little bit better, but as of right now things are weird here in Seattle. So we are 11 and a half, almost 12 years into this franchise mode. And that means there's a lot of people that are going to be retired. So there's a lot of new faces in the NHL. So I think we did this around episode like 30, like year 5 or something, or maybe like year 6. We went ahead and had a look around the NHL. Now there's a few familiar faces like Ricard Raquel, and Victor Arvidsson apparently is still playing. JT Miller, 35 years old. So you can see a lot of players are just at the tail end of their career or almost done. So let's have a look around here. We're going to go each team and see who their superstar is. So it looks like this one here is Alex Lafreniere. He's obviously the quote-unquote next one from Rimouski, but pretty nice. We've been offered this guy, Chris Vickers, quite a few times actually. And actually look at him, he looks pretty good. I don't know why I kept saying no to that. Oh no, sorry, it was Hutchins, that's who it was, not this guy. It was Hutchins we kept getting trade offers for. So their forward core is pretty nice. Let's have a look at Anaheim's defense, and obviously we get to see some familiar faces as well. So they still have Cam Fowler, spent his entire career in Anaheim, and there it is, AK-47. He found a nice home in Southern California, that's awesome. So the Bruins have 2 goalies. I know who Tyler Parsons is, I have no idea who this guy is. Let's see who they have. Forward wise, I know that they traded for this guy from the Wild, and I think he had like a 60 goal year or something like that. He came very close actually, 57 goals. Now he's just been killing it ever since he was traded to the Bruins. What a crazy trade. He's making $13 million this year. He's making agency type money. David Pastrnak, 32, he's still 92 overall. Kupari, that's one of the guys that was actually just drafted in this year's NHL draft. So they're looking okay. Their first line's pretty deadly. Jacob Zibril and Cody Ceci, the only ones I recognize there, and we already checked out their goalies. So off to Buffalo. Now they have one of the nicest teams out there. I think their defense sucks, but their forward core is just insane. So Frederick Livingston, there he is. And look at their offense. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Zadina, Eichel, Nylander, Cliff Poo, Jack Hughes, Casey Middlestat, Corson. They got McLeod. They got Yona Gadjevich. Like, they are just stacked. Oh my god, they are killing it. Now, Yona Gadjevich is a guy who I wouldn't mind having on my team. Very physical, he has decent offensive awareness, he puts up numbers on the 4th line. I wouldn't mind going after him. Defensively, it's a little bit of a different story. Not one NHLer, sorry, I guess Brandon Gooley is technically an NHLer. That's the only name on the defensive core that I actually recognize. Off to Carolina, and the newest Calgary Flame, Noah Hannafin, there he is, 92 overall at 32 years old. So their defense stayed kind of the same with Jacob Slavin, but there you go. And Ronnie Doyle, he went to Carolina, and he is lighting it up this year. 2 assists, what a guy. So Ronnie Doyle found a good home there in Carolina, that's awesome. Now, do they still have like Jeff Skinner? No, looks like Jeff Skinner's moved on. Sebastian Aho, JP Pajot, and Gabriel Lowe. He was the 1st overall pick, so you're going to see a lot of high overall picks as well. Looks like he's a pretty good 30 goal, 65, maybe 70 point guy. That's awesome for Carolina. Nick Ritchie, there you go. Now, who do they have in the cage? Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. Nedeljkovic? Yeah, wow, he actually stayed. That's cool. He's actually a prospect for Carolina right now. And then Yuri Frolov. Okay, moving on to Columbus. They have Billy Falk, that's a great name. Looks like he was drafted 10th overall. They molded him into a pretty good starting goalie. Offensively, Max Domi had a really good career in Columbus ever since we shipped him off. He's a career 20 goal, 45, 50 point guy. I'm glad he's found a good home there. That's good news for him. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Jason Zucker. So they have a few NHLers. They got Sam Bennett, Ryan McInnes. So they got a few NHLers. That's good news. Werenski, Morgan Riley, Tyson Keatley, so there's a former Seattle Storm Bears legend. There you go. So we took away Ryan Murray from them, and then we eventually swapped him with Keatley. That's kind of funny. So their defensive core is really, really nice. Have a look at Calgary. So they got Korolev. I guess he is a starting goalie, undrafted. Okay. All right, moving on to their forwards. They got Matthew Tkachuk. He's still in Calgary. After all these trade rumors, he's coming to Seattle to play with his brother. Nope, he's staying in Calgary. Sean Monahan's still there. Anyone else I recognize? Drake Kajula, I recognize him. Anders Bork. So there's still some NHLers out there. Andre Burakovsky. Kyle Subban, former Seattle Storm Bear Kyle Subban. Took him a long time to get to the NHL. He had 3 years in the AHL, and it looks like he's not that special, so maybe that was the right trade to make. Jake McCabe, Rasmus Anderson, their defense is pretty weak. Definitely not the best that we've seen. Going over to Chicago, the days of Kane and Taves are probably over by now. Caedmon Smits and Philip Grubauer, former Seattle Storm Bears legend. I feel like we're going to be saying legend a lot in this episode. But there he is. He's found a backup role in Chicago. And it's Kane and Taves. So they do have Kane, but it's not Patrick. It's Evander. And they got Jaden Hunt. Jesper Storstrom. That's a pretty nice player there. First round, 8th overall. Walter Bales, Nick Cousins. All right, there's a former Seattle Storm Bear. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Mark Jankowski. Defensively, they got Charlie McAvoy, so that was that big free agent. I think we actually tried to get Charlie McAvoy, but he ended up going to Chicago. So there you go. Colorado. Now you will see a few familiar faces here. So they pretty much have their entire core still. They got Yakupov, Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen. They also got Taylor Hall as well. They got Alex Kerfoot. So they've kept pretty much their core together. That's impressive. That's really cool, actually. So they ended up getting Taylor Hall at the end of his career, moved on from Edmonton to New Jersey, and now he's hanging out here in Colorado with Nathan McKinnon, who actually led the league in scoring last year at 33 years old. He moved into an exact franchise. That's crazy. He's still growing. Lawson Krause, we traded him away in year 1 or 2. Looks like he's found a pretty good home there in Colorado. That's good news. Blake Spears, Sergei Bobkov. There he is. We actually didn't give him a contract, and he moved on to Colorado. And defensively, oh yeah, this is sick. Rasmus Dahlin, Cale Makar. Oh my God, they still have Nikita Zadorov. That's cool. And they got Valerie Bure. He came back from the dead. And there is, I guess he's not dead. Sorry, he didn't come back from the dead, but he came back out of retirement. So Thomas Backer, he didn't die, I promise. Valerie Bure is very much alive. Thomas Backer, we ended up having this guy, traded him to Colorado because they needed a goalie. Decided to help Joe Sakic out, and it definitely worked out for them. Korpisalo, 34 years old. He's hanging out in Dallas. After Ben Bishop's gone, they went and got Korpisalo. Semenov, this guy was the 15th overall pick, 84 out of the draft, and he grew to a 92. So no more Ben, no more Tyler Seguin. They're done, and it's time for some new blood here in Dallas. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Kiefer Bellows, anyone that we recognize here? Elias Lindholm, former Calgary Flame, Elias Lindholm. Matthias Janmark ended up staying his whole career. That's cool. So they got Heiskanen and Klingberg. Imagine that in real life. Like, that's going to be a reality very soon. Josh Morrissey, legend. He moved on from LA. I think he went to Columbus, and now he's in Dallas. So he's been bouncing around a little bit. I don't regret many trades, but I kind of regret trading him away. He was a lot of fun. There you go, Josh Morrissey. And we already looked at their goalie, which was Korpisalo. Detroit. All right. Okay, everyone get your gas masks. Come on. Just cover it over your mouth. Get your gas masks. All right, we're going to make this one quick. Lebda and this guy. Okay, I don't really care. Moving on here. Yuck. Anthony Mantha, Dylan Larkin, Morgan Frost. So Tarasenko's 37 years old, but he's still putting up pretty good numbers there. They got McMillan, Ott, Emmerich. They're very stacked. They're a very stacked team. Would you say we're a better team, or are they a better team? I don't know. They got 4 90s on their offensive core, 2 88s. Yeah, they're looking pretty good there. Defensively, they could use some help. They got a goalie playing defense. Gabriel Goalie, what a name. Moving on to Edmonton, Connor McDavid should be still leading the way. Oscar Klefbom still hanging out in Edmonton, so I believe McDavid's still killing it. I think Mark Scheifele and Connor McDavid are 1-2 in points right now in the NHL, so they're killing it there with Jesse Puljujarvi. They got Leon Draisaitl still, so they somehow made it work with paying McDavid 11.4 and paying Leon 9. So they're throwing some money around, that's for sure. And in the cage, they have a 90 overall medium elite. So they drafted a very good goalie, and they got a medium starter as well, Bob Cullimore. There you go. Pretty good team there in Edmonton. Ackerman, this guy, he is so good. Behind Big Mac, he could be one of the best goalies in the NHL. Look at him. He started out as a backup, and then it's like, okay, you're ready for the show. Almost 50 wins, 45, then 48 again. With a hold on, look at his goals against average, 1.99 last year. That's crazy. So have a look at Florida's offense, and then we know the best thing about this team is their defense. I mean, their offense looks really good too. Exact same with their goaltending. Huberdeau, Borgstrom, Owen Tippett, Brandon Pierlini, legend. There he is. He's looking, wow, he actually put up some pretty good numbers after he left our team. 4 years ago, he had 26 goals and almost 70 points. Good for him. Look at their center depth. It's crazy how Trocheck became a third-line center for the rest of his career. Now, defensively, Jacob Solani, Aaron Ekblad, Jacob Trouba, a couple of Jacobs and an Aaron, and then the rest of their defense is just god-awful. Jake Gardner still killing it. Attaboy. Don't let those guys in Toronto get you down. Moving on to the LA Kings. I don't recognize anyone here. Tyson Jost. Their center depth is crazy. Logan Brown there on the third line. Their defense really needs some work. And in the cage, they have Ilya Samsonov. Minnesota, they need a goalie in a bad way. Mason McDonald. Now, in the last episode, we said we needed to trade our franchise goalie away because we don't really have any room for him. Minnesota could be a very viable option because you know who else they have? Clayton Keller. Ooh, all right. So Clayton Keller seems to be struggling a little bit, and I do really regret this trade. I really do. Okay, maybe now that I've had this video out, this could be something. What do you think of packaging Forsberg and that goalie for Keller and a pick? All right, interesting. Or we could even get the Innanen back. Anyways, so there's their team. I'll leave that up to you guys in the comments. Schlemko, he was pretty good. Third round, I think he was 80 overall out of the third round. I remember that. They got Capo Caco. And then defensively, looking really good there with Adam Boquist. Future Chicago Blackhawk, Adam Boquist. Tyrell, Drouin. So they still got Jonathan Drouin and Brendan Gallagher. If you look at Brendan Gallagher, he put up crazy goal totals. 35, 43, 38. I don't know what it was, but he was just putting up some numbers for a little while. Nikolai Goldobin, there you go. There's everyone there. Defensively, they're looking okay. Charlie Letty's pretty good. Now, I assume Carey Price is gone. They have Eric Comrie and this guy. All right, not bad. I need a drink of water here. Harvey Bonino, that's a great name. He looks like he's a starter there in New Jersey without Taylor Hall. Who do they got now? So they got Charlie Svengerg. I know Taylor Hall was kind of like the secondary piece behind Svengerg. He's been so good. He's by far one of the best players in the NHL, putting up consistent 50-goal years. This is where Agent C has to get back to. Has to get back to the 55, 60-goal year. They kind of kept their core intact. They had Taylor Hall for a long time. They got Nico Hischier. I think this guy was actually drafted by New Jersey. Pavel Zacha. So they've kept a lot of original players, which is definitely cool. Will Butcher, Damon Severenson, they kept all of them. And they got Risto, who's actually a big free agent signing a few years ago. Moving on to Nashville, UC Partanen and Tumanen. So they got a couple of Finns hanging out there. That's awesome. UC Partanen, we ended up trading away. He seems to score a lot of goals. Oh, man, we could use that. We could use some goal scoring. Brent, what are you doing, you idiot? Why would you trade a guy like UC Partanen? Oh, man. Okay, anyways, what's done is done. We've made a few questionable trades, that's for sure. So Philip Forsberg, Popovich, and Tolvanen. So Tolvanen looks like he's having a decent campaign. Could hit 68 points once again. Their team looks okay. They have Backman playing. Okay, so I was wondering, he's 87 on the third line. He's actually not a center. He is a grinder with 98 defensive awareness. Damn, a 6th round pick. Wow, that's crazy. That's really good for Nashville. Pekka Rinne's all gone. They got UC Saros and this guy. All right. New York Islanders, they got 287 overall goalies. Okay, how's that working out for you? Sloan, Matt Barzell, Joshua Hosang. So they kept Hosang. They still have Tavares, actually. Wow, he's 38 years old. Still putting up, I guess, average numbers, but 38 years old. He had a hell of a career. Never broke 100 points, although he came close in 2021-22. Never quite cracked the 100 mark. Nick Suzuki. All right, who else they got? Chris Tierney. Seattle Storm Bears legend, Chris Tierney. Oh man, I wish I could have kept this guy. He had some great playoff runs for us in the early 2020s. That just feels weird to say. Yeah, he was awesome. Chris Tierney was great. Defensively, they look pretty strong as well. Jacob Larson, Ryan Pulock looks pretty good there. Or is it Ryan Pulock or Pulock? I don't know. It's a weird name to try to pronounce. New York Rangers have John Gibson. He's still in the NHL. Crazy. 35 years old. That's good news for him. He's sticking around. Still a pretty decent starting goalie. The Rangers kept on to Buchnevich this entire time. He's a career 45, 50-point guy. That's good news. Tim Williams. He's a guy who I actually created, and he's been really, really good. Almost scored 60 goals in 2023. So that's crazy. We got Bradley Craig, who was a 4th overall pick, a right-wing sniper. That's a pretty nice first line. They got Zibanejad as well, still hanging out there. Elias Anderson. Duke Rodney, Storm Bears legend. We ended up trading him, so we didn't even crack the roster after we traded him. All right, there you go. So he's a career 4th liner. And then I got to check their defense real quick. Defensively, Brady Shea, Jacob Chikrin. I would love to have this guy back. One of the best defensive defensemen in the game. Unreal. D'Angelo, Noah Juleson. So their defense is really nice, actually. Get to see a few familiar faces here in Ottawa. We got Dylan Strome and Nick Schmaltz. Their top 6 is pretty nice. Anyone that really jumps out at me, their center depth is really good. Defensively, Thomas Chabot. So it looks like Erik Karlsson is all but over. He's gone. They got Spooner. All right, he looks like he's the starting goalie. Moving on to Philadelphia, Travis Konecny, Nolan Patrick, they're still members of the Flyers. Sean Couturier is still out there. Defensively, Provorov and Ghost and Travis Sanheim, so they kept 3 of their original defensemen, and they got Evan Bouchard. All right, good news. And in the cage, they have Montgomery and Carter Hart. Looks like Carter Hart's getting the night off. Moving over to Pittsburgh, no more Sidney Crosby. They got Braden Point and Jake Gensel. They got Bergenheim. This was the guy that we traded, just in case you guys were wondering how he turned out. 84 overall. There's people saying, don't trade this guy. He's going to be 90 plus. No, 84 overall, left wing grinder. All right, so that was a good move. Dante Fabro, he was involved in that trade as well, 28 points. Look at all those minuses. Maybe Pittsburgh is not the greatest team. And they still have Matt Murray and Tristan Jarry. So 11 years later, their goaltending tandem has not changed. Who do we got next? We got the San Jose Sharks. Kevin LeBlanc, Alex DeBrincat, Timo Meier. So they kept Timo Meier together. He's pretty much the only one that I recognize. Christian Dvorak, Seattle Storm Bears legend. Christian Dvorak had 30 goals last year. Wow. All right, so that's cool. The only original San Jose Shark, I guess, is Timo Meier and Kevin LeBlanc. All right. Defensively, Jeremy Waugh. Was he drafted by San Jose? He was. Jeremy Waugh. Glenn Lewis, 87 overall, 19 years old. Oh my God. This guy is going to be legit. Keith Riddle, that's a great name. And in the cage, no more Martin Jones. They got Gorgiev and Pignot. I don't know. I don't like French names. St. Louis Blues. They have no original Blues. Oh, no, they have actually quite a few. They have Barbashev, Robbie Fabry, Schwartz, and I think this guy's, yeah, he's originally drafted by the Blues. So they got a few original St. Louis Blues there. Lou Miller, a former 4th overall pick. This guy as well, a former 5th overall pick. He's turned out to be really good. He's got almost 30 goals this year, 21 years old. Defensively, Ryan Merkley. All right, so all those question marks about him being able to play defense, I think no one's saying anything right now. Because you know what? He turned out to be a pretty good defenseman for the St. Louis Blues. Who else they got? Colton Parayko, 35, still at a 90 overall. All right, and in the cage, Evan Fitzpatrick. Okay. There we go. We're almost done. We're flying through this. Tampa Bay still has Vasilevskiy. He's won like 13 Vezina trophies. Johnny Gaudreau went to the Tampa Bay Lightning with Urquhart and Kucherov. They're still a very dangerous team. They've been to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think, 4 or 5 times, and they've lost every single time. So Hedman is no longer here. Did he retire? Maybe he moved on. Okay, interesting. Move on here to Toronto. They still have their core intact with Svechnikov. That's awesome. So here's Lars Ekman-Larsson and Walsler. So we ended up trading Walsler and Ekman-Larsson for, I think it was Hughes and a pick. Now Hughes is slowly progressing. I'm hoping he gets to be 85, 86, 87 overall for the second line. That'd be awesome. But they still got Marners, Nylander, Austin Matthews, Bo Horvat, Gaudette. So they got a pretty good team there. Timothy Liljegren, he's the only... Oh, no, they got Travis Dermont as well. A pretty solid defensive core. I know a lot of people are going to wonder what Toronto looks like, so there you go. Off to Vancouver. Cole Lind, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Brandon Saw, Jordan Kyrou, Nemestikov. We're very familiar with this team. I like this, though. 92s across the board. That's looking good for Vancouver. Now we can put Quentin Hughes into this mix. Now he is a Vancouver Canuck, which is so awesome. Their defense is looking pretty good. We just faced them last year in the postseason, so we kind of know what their team's looking like. And then in the cage, Thatcher Demko, still one of the better goalies out there, 90 overall. Only a few more teams left. Oh, yuck. I don't even want to look at these guys. All right, get your fill in there. Have a look at them. We're moving on. Paul Silas. Yep, that's enough. And I know who they have in net. All right, on to the next one. Winnipeg Jets, Connor Hellebuck, and Vic Mayer. He is the mayor of Creasetown. Ha! Oh, I'm so clever. Kyle Connor, Jack Roslovic, Patrick Laine, Ryan Hartman, Ryan Strome, and Jake Virtanen. So a pretty decent team. Kind of weak on the second line, but when you look at it, Virtanen has close to 30 goals. So something's working here. That's good news. Big Grass, Marr, Matt Dumba, Rivers, Hayden Fleury. There you go. All right. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. We had one more team left, and I screwed it up. And that one team is the Washington Capitals without Alex Ovechkin. Do you remember how bad the Washington Capitals were for so long? Like after Ovi left, they were so bad for like 5 years. But then they drafted really well. They got this guy first overall. He is a career first-line center. He's the assist master. I hope they have him with a sniper, and they do. They drafted very smart. They got this guy first overall. They got this guy second overall. I think Hamilton was 4th overall. So they've been drafting very smart. And yes, I see him. There he is, Austin freaking Pope, having a fantastic year. 33 points. Atta boy. He is the Pope. He's hanging out in Washington. That's good news. Their team's pretty sick, actually. They still have Kuznetsov. I'm super stoked for Austin Pope. That's awesome. Defensively, they're looking a little bit weak, that's for sure. And goalies, Michael DiPietro. That's good news. The Vancouver Canucks pick. There you go. So they got a nice little 1-2 punch in net. And that is going to be it. Okay, boom. I did that in under 25 minutes. Whew, my mouth hurts from talking so fast. So after all that, I think there's one thing to do and one thing only. Get Clayton Keller back. I think that's our move, right? Or do we want to stick with Christek on the first line? Because it seems to be working out. I think that Christek, I mean, look, this is so weird. His passing is 77, but he has 48 assists. Like, what? So this is kind of what I'm thinking, all right? We give him Forsberg. All right, let's think about this. This is just a hypothetical, just throwing it out there. All right, so we give him Forsberg. All I want back is Clayton Keller. That's all I want back, and he's not super stoked. You see his morale. It's like, he's happy, but he's not really happy. You know what I mean? So Clayton Keller and Forsberg. We're also going to throw in that goalie. This is basically free money we're playing with right now. This goalie's essentially free. Okay, now they have the cap to take him, which is good. I'd have to get a goalie back, so give me this guy. Yeah, sure, give me this guy, who's actually could be something. Like, that would go through, you know what I mean? That would definitely go through. We could probably get a pick as well. I mean, it was a mistake to trade Clayton Keller. I've been texting with him back and forth. Man, I'm going to try to get you back. And he's like, yes, please. I miss Agent C. He's my dude. I miss him. So hopefully that can happen. Yeah, I would like for that to happen. Okay, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about the look around the NHL. Should we go after Clayton Keller once again? I'm not going to do anything crazy until I look at your guys' comments. Thank you so much for watching. I don't mind doing these videos every, 10 years or whatever, just to kind of keep it interesting. Now you have a better idea of who's around the NHL. Ryan Paling for Rocket Richard, and I'll see you in the next one.